Hello and welcome to this continuing First Look exploring session, looking at 4 plays in one. A compilation portmanteau show with a framing device and then 4 plays. 4 plays in one show. Not a unique artifact. We definitely have records of references to lots of other similar compilation type shows. This one is by Nathan Field and John Fletcher. We have mostly been going under the authorship of Nathan Field. We are going to be moving into John Fletcher towards the end of this and staying with him, I think, for most of the rest of the play. I could be wrong on that. Anyway, reading today, as we go into our second play of 4, reading Cupid, Angelina, Duke, and Lavall is...
Aaron, coming from the Pacific Northwest of America.
Reading Violanta, Cornelia, and Gabriella is...
Alexandra, and I am also here.
Reading Dorothea, States, and Second Courtier is...
Oh, I mean, Lois in London. Yes.
Just the moment for the computer to slightly lag is perfect timing. Reading Ferdinand, Prologue, and First Courtier is...
Rachel in Canada.
Reading Gerrard, Emanuel, and Maria is...
Hi, I'm Lynn. I'm about 50 miles from Aaron in the Pacific Northwest of the United States.
Subbing in for the moment, reading Benvoglio, Isabella, and Gentille is...
Hello, I'm Sarah. I may not be here for all of this, but I'm here now.
Yes, and I'm your host, Robert Crighton. I will be reading stage directions and leaping in to read Randolfo at some point, apparently, which I'd forgotten all about. So without further ado, we're going to just go just before the beginning of Act 3, Scene 1, because we finished last session with the speech of Cupid, and we're going to begin with that speech from Cupid now. So if I could ask Cupid to sort of lead us in from the framing device into the play.
Stay, clouds, ye rack too fast. Bright Phoebus, see, honor has triumphed with fair chastity. Give love, now leave, in purity, to show unchaste affections fly not from his bow. Produce the sweet example of your youth, whilst I provide a triumph for your truth.
And flourish occurs. There's lots of flourishing in this play. Act 3, Scene 1, and again, these can be labelled slightly differently. The Triumph of Love. Enter Violanta with Child and Gerrard.
Why does my Gerrard grieve?
Oh, my sweet mistress, 'tis not life, which by our Milan law my fact hath forfeited, makes me thus pensive, that I would lose save the little finger of this your noble burden from the least hurt, because your blood is in it. But since your love made poor, incompatible me the parent, we, being we are not married, your dear blood falls under the same cruel penalty. And can heaven think fit ye die for me? For heaven's sake, say I ravished you. I'll swear it, to keep your life and repute unstained.
Oh, Gerrard, thou'rt my life and faculties, and if I lose thee, I'll not keep mine own, the thought of whom sweetens all miseries. Wouldst have me murder thee beyond thy death, unjustly scandal thee with ravishment? It was so far from rape that heaven doth know, if ever the first lovers, ere they fell, knew simply in the state of innocence. Such was this act, this that doth ask no blush.
Oh, but my rarest Violanta, when my Lord Randolph, brother to your father, shall understand this, how will he exclaim that my poor aunt and me, which his free alms hath nursed, since Milan by the Duke of Mantua, who now usurps it, was surprised. That time my father and my mother were both slain, with my aunt's husband, as she says, their states despoiled and seized. 'Tis past my memory, since I could understand. Your honored uncle hath given me all the liberal education that his own son might look for, had he one. Now will he say, "Dost thou requite me thus?" Oh, the thought kills me.
Gentle, gentle, Gerard. Be cheered, and hope the best. My mother, father, and uncle love me most indulgently, being the only branch of all their stocks. But neither they nor he thou wouldst not grieve with this unwelcome news, shall ever hear Violanta's tongue reveal, much less accuse, Gerard to be the father of his own. I'll rather silent die, that thou mayst live to see thy little offspring grow and thrive.
Enter Dorothea.
Mistress, away. Your lord and father seeks you. I'll convey Gerrard out of the back door. He has found a husband for you, and insults in his invention, little thinking you have made your own choice and possessed him too.
Husband, 'tmust be Gerard, or my death. Farewell. Be only true unto thyself, and no heaven's goodness shall prevent it be, ere worthiest Gerard suffer harm from me.
Farewell, my life and soul. Aunt, to your counsel I flee for aid. Oh, unexpressible love, thou art an undigested heap of mixed extremes, whose pangs are wakings, and whose pleasures dreams.
And they exit. Again, it's like, we've got to do the exposition quickly. We've got to get everything set up as quickly as we can, because this play is only about, 40 minutes long, 30, half an hour. It's like, stuff. It is a bit discombobulating, because it's like, in a normal play, this would be twice as long and have room to breathe. Lynn.
Are Gerrard and Violanta cousins? Are they related? I couldn't follow. Sorry.
I'm assuming that they are lovers on.
Yeah, they're kind of, and it sounds like they were raised in the same household because Gerrard was orphaned in a war. But anyway, we didn't pause after the prologue, and I wanted to just snark about the fact that Cupid says, "No unchaste affections fly from my bow." Like, really? Jove might have something to say about that. I mean, what?
Yeah. Lois.
That's not the
Well,
Cupid
it's really surprising to find a sympathetic portrayal of a couple who've had sex outside marriage, and even more surprising, I think, I've never heard anyone do that before. Say I raped you. That'll save your reputation. Wow.
Yeah, it's an interesting inversion of the logic we have elsewhere. But yeah, it says everything's just sort of sketched in plot points. It's just giving us what we need to get to the next bit, giving us also a sense of, oh no, there's people coming, get away, so it's adding a sort of sense of jeopardy as well straight away, just to push it forward. So yes, it's very much in the same vein as Field's last playlet in this play. I'm calling them little playlets. Okay, any other thoughts? Otherwise, we'll move into some more exciting action to find Alexandra.
Just that I think Gerard has been raised by Violanta's uncle. So it's not necessarily that they're related. It's that, yes, they've been around each other for a long time, and they are sort of familiarly connected, and there's a whole thing. But Violanta also says that all of the people that are related to her love her so much that they'll surely forgive her this, which means they evidently won't. But yes, she's the only branch of all their stocks, so she is presumably also a very rich heiress, which is why the whole issue of she's been dishonored is such an issue.
Okay, Act 3, Scene 2 then. Enter Benvoglio, Angelina, and Ferdinand.
My Angelina, never didst thou yet so please me as in this consent, and yet thou hast pleased me well, I swear, old wench. Ha ha! Ferdinand, 'tis thine own. Thou'st have her boy. Ask thy good lady else.
Whom shall I have, sir?
Whom do you think, your faith?
Guess.
Noble madam, I may hope. prompted by shallow merit, through your profound grace, for your chambermaid.
How's that? How's that?
Your chambermaid, my lord.
Her chamber pot, my lord, you modest ass. Thou never showedst thyself an ass till now. For heaven, I am angry with thee. Sirrah, sirrah, this white meat spirit's not yours, legitimate. Advance your hope, and please you, guess again.
And let your thoughts flee higher. Aim them right. Sir, you may hit. You have the fairest white.
I may be so bold then, my good lord. Your favour doth encourage me to aspire to catch my lady's gentlewoman.
Where? Where would you catch her? Do you know my daughter Violanta, sir?
Well said. No more about the bush.
My good lord, I have gazed on Violanta and the stars, whose heavenly influence I admired, not knew, nor ever was so sinful to believe I might attain it.
Now you are an ass again. For if thou ne'er attainst it, 'tis only long of that faint heart of thine, which never did it. She is your lord's heir, mine, Benvoglio's heir, my brother's too, Rudolfo's, her descent not behind any of the Milanois. And, Ferdinand, though thy parentage be unknown, thou knowest that I have bred thee up from 5 years old, and, do not blush to hear it, have found thy wisdom, trust, and fair success so full in all my affairs, that I am fitter to call thee master than thou me thy lord. Thou canst not be but sprung of gentlest blood. Thy mind shines through thee like the radiant sun, although thy body be a beauteous cloud. Come, seriously, this is no flattery, and well thou know'st it, though thy modest blood rise like the morning in thy cheek to hear it. Sir, I can speak in earnest. Virtuous service, so meritorious, Ferdinand, as yours, yet bashful still, and silent, should extract a fuller price than impudence exact. And this is now the wages it must have. My daughter is thy wife, my wealth thy slave.
Good Madam Pinch, I sleep. Does my lord mock, and you assist? Customs inverted quite, for old men nowadays do flout the young.
Fetch, Violanta. As I intend this religiously, let my soul find joy or pain.
And exit Angelina.
My honoured lord and master, if I hold that worth could merit such felicity you bred it in me, and first purchased it, it is your own, and what productions in all my faculties my soul begets, your very mark is on. You need not add rewards to him that is in debt to you. You saved my life, sir, in the massacre. There you begot me new, since fostered me. Oh, I can serve too much or pray for you. Alas, 'tis slender payment to your bounty. Your daughter is a paradise, and I, unworthy to be set there. You may choose the royalest seeds of Milan.
Prithee, peace. Thy goodness makes me weep. I am resolved. I am no lord of the time to tie my blood to sordid muck. I have enough. My name, my state, and honours I will store in thee, whose wisdom will rule well, keep, and increase. A knave or fool that could confer the like would bate each hour, diminish every day. Thou art her price-lot then, drawn out by fate. An honest, wise man is a prince's mate.
Sir, heaven and you have overcharged my breast with grace beyond my continence. I shall burst. The blessing you have given me, witness saints, I would not change for Milan. But my lord, is she prepared?
What needs preparative when such a cordial is prescribed as thou? Thy person and thy virtues in one scale shall poise hers with her beauty and her wealth. If not, I'll add my will unto the weight. Thy mother's with her now. Son, take my keys, and let this preparation for this marriage, this welcome marriage, long determined here, be quick and gorgeous. Gerrard!
My good lord, my lord your brother craves your conference instantly on affairs of high import.
Why? What news?
The tyrant, my good lord, is sick to death of his old apoplexy, whereon the states advise that a letter's missive be straight dispatched to all the neighbor counties, and schedules, too, divulged on every post, to inquire for the lost Duke Forth. Their purpose is to reinstate him.
'Tis a pious deed. Ferdinand, to my daughter. This delay, though to so good a purpose, angers me, but I'll recover it. Be secret, son. Go woo with truth and expedition.
Exit Benvoglio.
Oh, my unsounded joy! How fares my Gerrard, my noble twin friend? By, thy look is heavy, sullen, and sour. Blanchett, didst thou know my cause of joy? Thou'dst never sorrow more. I know thou lov'dst me so. How dost thou?
Well, too well. My fraught of health my sickness is. In life I am dead. By living, dying still.
What sublunary mischief can predominate a wise man thus? Or doth thy friendship play, in this antipathos extreme, with mine? Lest gladness suffocate me. I do feel my spirits turn to fire, my blood to air, and I am like a purified essence, tried from all drossy parts.
Were it but my life, the loss was sacrificed. But virtue must for me be slain, and innocence made dust.
Farewell, good Gerrard.
Dearest friend, stay.
Sad thoughts are no companions for me now, much less sad words. Thy bosom binds some secret, which you do not trust me with, for mine retains another, which I must conceal from thee.
I would reveal it, 'tis a heavy tale. Canst thou be true and secret still?
My friend, if you continue true unto yourself, I have no means of falsehood. Lock this door, come, let yet your prisoners sure.
Stay, Ferdinand.
What is this trouble? Love? Why, thou art capable of any woman. Doth want oppress thee? I will lighten thee. Hast thou offended law? My lord is thine, and I will save thy life. Does servitude upbraid thy freedom, that she suffers it? Patience but 3 days, and I will make thee thy lord's companion. Can a friend do more?
Lend me the means. How can this be?
First, let this cabinet keep your pawn, and I will trust. Yet from the form of satisfaction take this my oath to boot. By my presumed gentry and sacred known Christianity, I'll die ere I reveal thy trust.
Then hear it. Your lord's fair daughter, Violanta, is my betrothed wife, goes great with child by me, and by this deed doth make both, and by this deed both made prey to law. How may I save her life? Advise me, friend.
What did he say? Gerrard, whose voice was that? O death unto my heart, bane to my soul. My wealth is vanished like the rich man's store. In 1 minute all my dainty fare, but juggling dishes, my fat hope, despair.
Oh, is this so odious? Where is your mirth?
Why, thou hast robbed me of it. Gerrard, draw thy sword, and if thou lovest my mistress' chastity, defend it, else I'll cut it from thy heart, thy thievish heart that stole it, and restore it to miracles to gain her.
Was she thine?
Never but in my wish and in her father's vow, which now he left me with me on such sure terms. He called me son and willed me to provide my wedding preparation.
Strange.
Come, let's kill one another quickly.
Ferdinand, my love is old to her, thine new begot. I have not wronged thee. Think upon thine oath.
It manacles me, Gerrard, else this hand should bear thee to the law. Farewell forever. Since friendship is so fatal, never more will I have friend. Thou hast put so sure a plea that all my weals litigious made by thee.
I did no crime to you. His love transports him, and yet I mourn that cruel destiny should make us to thus one another's cross. We have loved since boys. For the same time cast him on Lord Benvoglio that my aunt and I were succored by Randolfo. Men have called us the parallels of Milan, and some said we were not much unalike. Oh, heaven divert that we should, ever since that time, be breeding mutual destruction.
And we're about to have an entrance, but we're going to pause there because there isn't a convenient pause break. Thank you, Sarah, for reading in. We now are caught again. If you have any thoughts on your particular character, you seem to enjoy very much.
I did. I liked him immensely. I don't know where he's going or why. He's probably going to turn into one of those arsey parents, but he seems quite fun. Like, yeah. And I like the fact that he's taken in this boy and raised him. And okay, it's not great that he wants to marry him to his daughter because he clearly hasn't talked to his daughter or asked her what she wants, which we know from the previous scene. But the very fact that he's like, yeah, it doesn't matter what your background is, doesn't matter if you're like low born or whatever. You've got wisdom and you're truthful and you're noble and you're all right with me. That's kind of that's quite commendable, I think.
But there were some lovely promptings that were going on in that sense, like the hint, are you getting where we're going yet? No, okay. Do we have to spell? We have to spell it out, right? Okay. Thank you very much, Sarah. Other thoughts from the room? It's a much lighter scene. It has to be said, Nathan Field is far better at when it's lighter and doing the comedic flow than he is when trying to be serious, because sometimes he just doesn't quite land it, does he? Alexandra.
Just a few points. I like Sarah. I really loved. I think from a different perspective, that moment where the wealthy and important person says, I have enough, and I'd rather give my kingdom, as it were, to someone who will rule it wisely. I mean, I've never seen that before. So that was really interesting. And there was one other thing, which was, I'll come back. I won't keep you.
Yeah, it's fine. Have additional thoughts. I'll go to Lois in the meantime, but I'll come back to you.
Well, it's a fun scene. I mean, you could just see this train wreck coming. These two guys, I've got a secret. Oh, so have I. Don't we exchange them? Oh, God, no.
Yeah, and it's setting up all of these various plot lines where you're sitting there going, oh, that won't turn out to be this, and this won't turn out to be that. And I can't see any of this turning out to a resolution at the end that's going to be very, very implausible, but moderately satisfying. So that's kind of fun. As Alexandra put in the chat earlier, just going, we've got another tyrant who's suffering from apoplexy, and I'm just going, it's stress. It's clearly being a tyrant is very stressful, and that's what happens to you. You get an apoplexy. So it's migraines. It's just
high blood pressure.
Yeah. Have you taken your tablets? No. What play was that where there was the guy who clearly had anger management issues and they had the guy standing to one side just saying
an early modern play with a guy with anger management issues?
Yeah, but no, it's the fact they were addressing it, just going, and breathe. It was I forget which one it was. Anyway, Lynn, I think.
So the first scene, as you pointed out, Rob, that is like crams a lot of exposition, a lot of background into a very short scene. I found a little jarring that the scene between Gerrard and Ferdinand dallies for so long before getting to the point. It's like, wait, I thought we were in a hurry, but no, they have to sort of dance around each other before Gerrard finally says, "I've gotten Violanta pregnant." Yeah, so I'm not really sure at the beginning of this scene when Benvoglio said something about, I adopted you, I have no idea who you are. I thought, oh, he's his actual son. He's somehow lost his own son and adopted this guy. Turned out, and so he can't marry Violanta. They're like siblings. No, not like siblings. But then that whole business about how Gerrard and Ferdinand have been so close that people practically think of them as twins, that in isolation would imply that they're actually long lost brothers. But maybe they're long lost, they're future brothers-in-law, and that's how that's going to work out.
Yeah. Well, incest isn't unknown in early modern drama, so who knows where that could be going.
This is comedy. This feels like a comedy.
Yeah. Alexandra.
Yeah, the parallelism of both of these young men being brought up as wards by people who are related to each other, who are it's comedic, and the fact that they have, it's lovely to have that very close relationship that they have, where they each feel bad about this woman between them, basically, whom one loves and the other one is going to marry, to the point where was she thine is the question. Your girlfriend, my girlfriend. Wait, hang on a second. What? And then almost the next line is, come, let's kill another quickly. Let's kill one another quickly. I mean, how is this not a comedy?
I'm not saying it isn't. Precisely what genre, each of these plays are doing overall is an interesting question. This one seems much more geared towards the comedy. It's got some stakes, being caught pregnant while unmarried is going to have some consequences here. But yeah, it does feel lighter than the last one. In terms of its intent. So yeah. Any other thoughts? Okay. The Gerrard and Ferdinand were having their chat. We have the approach of Dorothea, and just a general note, we've got lots of missing oaths that have been taken out. Just so you know, that's what those dashes do represent. Alan, before we move on.
Who am I, please?
I'll pull it in the chat.
Thank you.
Okay, Dorothea, take it away on your entrance.
Just use my imagination for this oath, or what?
Yeah, we haven't got a protocol.
Okay.
Just don't turn the airways blue, whatever you do.
That's okay. No, I'll keep it simple. Right. Oh, where are you? You have made a fair hand. By God, yonder is your aunt with my lady. She came in just as she was wooing your mistress for another. And what did me she but out with her purse and showed all the naked truth, if faith. Fie upon you. You should never trust an old woman with a secret. They cannot hold so well as we, and you'd hang 'em. First there was swearing and staring, then there was howling and weeping, and oh, my daughter, and oh, my mother.
The effect.
Marry, no way but one with you.
Why, welcome. Shall she escape?
She's made her escape already.
Why? Is she gone?
The escape of her virginity, I mean. You men are as dull. You can conceive nothing. You think it is enough to beget.
Aye, but surely, Dorothea, that escaped not. Her maidenhead suffered.
And you were the executioner.
But what's the event? Lord, how thou starvest me, doll.
Lord, how thou starvest me, doll. By God, I would fain see you cry a little. Do you stand now as if you could get a child? Come, I'll rack you no more. This is the heart of the business. Always provided, Signor, that if it please the fates to make you a lord, you be not proud, nor forget your poor handmaid, doll, who was partly accessory to the incision of this Holofernian maidenhead.
I will forget my name first. Speak.
Then thus, my lady knows all. Her sorrow is reasonably well digested, has vowed to conceal it from my lord till delay ripen things better. Wills you to attend her this evening at the back gate, I'll let you in, where her own confessor shall put you together lawfully, ere the child be born, which birth is very near, I can assure you. All your charge is your vigilance, and to bring with you some trusty nurse to convey the infant out of the house.
Oh, beam of comfort, take. Go, tell my lady I pray for her as I walk. My joys so flow that what I speak or do, I do not know.
And they exit, and we get a dumb show. Enter Violetta by one door, weeping, supported by Cornelia and a friar at another door, and Angelina weeping, attended by Dorothea. Violanta kneels down for pardon. Angelina, showing remorse, takes her up and cheers her. So doth Cornelia. Angelina sends Dorothea for Gerrard. Enter Gerrard with Dorothea. Angelina and Cornelia seem to chide him, showing Violanta's heavy plight. Violanta rejoiceth in him. He makes sign of sorrow, entreating pardon. Angelina brings Gerrard and Violanta to the friar. He joins them hand in hand, takes a ring from Gerrard, puts it on Violanta's finger, blesseth them. Gerrard kisseth her. The friar takes his leave. Violanta makes show of great pain, is instantly conveyed in by the women. Gerrard is bid to stay. He walks in meditation, seems to pray. Enter Dorothea, whispers to him, sends him out. Enter Gerrard with a nurse, blindfold, gives her a purse. To them enter Angelina and Cornelia with an infant. They present it to Gerrard. He kisseth and blesseth it, puts it in the nurse's arms, kneels and takes his leave. Exit all severally. So from marriage to birth in relatively swift succession.
Yeah.
And so I almost have this image of him standing out there and someone hands him a cigar, and it's a very sort of man waiting outside the birthing chamber.
The delivery room pacing.
The delivery room logic there. It's for what's a very detailed dumb show, which is actually not actually very complicated bits of action actually, but it's lovely to have these very precise pieces of information. It makes a change, frankly, from when we're going, who, what now? Alexandra.
It's an early modern time passage montage. It's and I love it. I think it's great. It doesn't have to be stuff that could have been shown in scenes, and why didn't they? It's the fact that we understand a whole bunch of the stuff that's been sort of prefigured is now being presented in a way that we don't need to get in more detail. You know, the fact that they both make a show of penitence and then they're put together, and this, I love the idea of the birth being signified by she makes a show of pain and gets delivered out of the room, and then it's man waits outside delivery room until baby is brought out is fantastic. And recognizable to us as a modern audience. I think, again, if you were thinking of putting this on, I think that's why it's so fantastic, because we would all know those story beats.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, you wonder if this was a longer play, this would be more sustained. There'd be several scenes, there'd be other scenes from the B plot, but it's just like, no, all the action's condensed into, as you were just saying, into a montage sequence with musical accompaniment, and that's modern television. That's what this is. This is a mini. This is a 4-part miniseries with. That's what this is. Lois.
Oh, just a minor point, but I don't think we've ever met Cornelia, have we? I think, she's mentioned in this dumb show, but I think that must be the person that Dorothea was talking about, somebody or other who blurts out the whole thing to Angelina. At least I was trying to figure out what was going on there. So presumably she's somebody that knew the whole story. But is this an elderly woman, or I don't know. I don't get it. Dorothea is clearly Violanta's maid, but who?
Cornelia is the aunt. Cornelia is Randolfo's wife.
Is Randolfo's wife, and okay. So this is the aunt. Is this the aunt that Gerrard was rushing to see and get her advice? Oh, that's why she knows all this and can blurt it out. But we've never met her before. Okay, fine.
Yeah, I don't know, but I think there is a structural issue there of having this. I mean, maybe it's just a way of introducing who she is slowly, and that it will become more clear when all the pieces are put together later on in the. In 5 minutes' time, which is probably as much time as we've got to fit her in. Maybe we need an earlier dumb show to introduce her so that we know who we're talking about. How many dumb shows do before it turns into a silent movie.
He could easily be present and non-speaking in an earlier scene.
Yeah. Okay. Any other thoughts? Otherwise, we'll go on. Act 3, Scene 3. Benvoglio and... yes, it's me. Randolfo.
He's dead, you say, then?
Certainly, and to hear the people now dissect him, now he's gone, makes my ears burn that loved him not. Such libels, such elegies and epigrams they have made, more odious than he was. Brother, great men had need to live by love, meeting their deeds with virtue's rule, sound with the weight of judgment, their private action. For though while they live, their power and policy mask their villainies, their bribes, their lust, pride, and ambition, and make a many slaves to worship, and that are their flatterers and their bawds in these. These very slaves shall, when these great beasts die, publish their bowels to the vulgar eye.
Sorry, my screen's gone blank for a second. Oh, fuck. For heaven, 'tis true. But is Rinaldo, brother, a good trait? Duke heard of living?
Living, sir, and will be shortly with the Senate. Has been close concealed at Mantua and relieved. But what's become of his... No tidings yet. But brother, till our good Duke shall arrive, carry this news here. Where's your Ferdinand?
Busy, sir, about this marriage. And yet my girl of the sun is fallen sick. You'll see her ere you go.
Yes, well, I love her, and yet I wish I had another daughter to gratify my Gerrard, who is all the glory of my family, but has too much worth to live so obscure. I'll have him Secretary of Estate upon the Duke's return, for credit me, the value of the gentleman's not known. His strong abilities are fit to guide the whole republic. He hath learning, youth, valour, discretion, honesty of a saint. His aunt is wondrous good too. Indeed. Enter Violanta in bed. In a bed. Angelina and Dorothea are sitting by her.
You have spoke the very character of Ferdinand. One is the other's mirror. How now, daughter?
How fares my niece?
A little better, uncle, than I was, I thank you.
Brother, a mere cold.
It was a cold and heat, I think, but heavens be thanked we have broken that away.
And yet, Violanta, you'll lie alone still, and you see what's got.
Sure, sir. When this was got, she had a bedfellow.
What was her colic left her in her belly?
'T'has left her, but she has had a sore fit.
Aye, that same colic and stones inherent to us, of the woman's side. Our mothers had them both.
So has she had, sir. Oh, these old fornicators talk. She had more need of mace ale and Rhenish wine, Caudles, heaven knows, than your aged discipline.
Say?
She will have the man, and on recovery will wholly be disposed by you.
That's my wench. How now, what change is this? Why, Ferdinand, are these your robes of joy should be endued? Doth Hymen wear black? I did send for you to have my honourable brother witness the contract I will make twixt you and her. Put off all doubt. She loves she. What d'ye say?
Speak, man, why look you so distractedly?
There are your keys, sir. I'll no contracts. I divinest the Violanta. I will serve you thus on my knees and pray for you. Juno, Lucina for opem. My inequality ascends no higher. I dare not marry you.
How's this?
Good night. I have a friend has almost made me mad. I weep sometimes and instantly can laugh. Nay, I do dance and sing and suddenly roar like a storm. Strange tricks these, are they not? And wherefore all this? Shall I tell you? No. Through mine ears my heart a plague hath caught, and I have vowed to keep it close, not show my grief to any, for it has no cure. On, wandering steps, to some remote place move. I'll keep my vow, though I have lost my love.
Exit Ferdinand.
Oh, heaven, distracted for her. Very well. I'll watch his steps, for I no joy shall find till I have found his cause and calmed his mind.
And exit Benvoglio. He's overcome with joy.
'Tis very strange.
Well, sister, I must leave you. The time's busy. Violanta, cheer you up. And I pray heaven restore each to their love and health again. Exit Randolpho.
Amen, great uncle. Mother, what a chance unluckily is added to my woe in this young gentleman.
True, Violanta. It grieves me much, doll. Go you instantly and find out Gerrard. Tell him his friend's hap, and let him use best means to comfort him. But as his life preserve this secret still.
Mother, I'll not offend you. Might not Gerrard steal in and see me in the evening?
Well, bid him do so.
Heaven's blessing on your heart. Do you not call childbearing travel, mother?
Yes?
It may well be. It well may be the barefoot traveller that's born a prince and walks his pilgrimage whose tender feet kiss the remorseless stones only, ne'er felt a travel like to it. Alas, great mother, you groaned thus for me, and yet how disobedient have I been.
Peace, Violanta, thou hast always been gentle and good.
Gerrard is better, mother. Oh, if you knew the implicit innocence he dwells in his breast, you'd love him like your prayers. I see no reason but my father might be told the truth, being pleased for Ferdinand to woo himself, and Gerrard ever was his full comparative. My uncle loves him as he loves Ferdinand.
No, not for the world. Since his intent is crossed, loved Ferdinand thus ruined, and a child got out of wedlock, his madness would pursue ye both to death.
As you please, mother. I am now, methinks, even in the land of ease. I'll sleep.
Draw in. The bed near the fire, silken rest, tie all thy cares up.
And they exit. There are several elements of this scene that I find. It's mostly really fun and silly, and then it's sort of not, and it's like I'm slightly confused by tone. I did find quite amusing just the fact, enter Violanta in a bed. It's just like shumph, just wheeled on. Yeah, and that transition, yeah, you've got these two chaps just without a clue, just wittering away, and everybody else knows what's going on, and not, and then I say the scene sort of regains a bit of weight when the men all bugger off, basically. And even with Ferdinand's going, I cannot, it is a far nobler thing I do now, kind of thing, or sadness, etc. Lois.
Yeah, well, it seems to me Ferdinand is starting to do the standard mad scene stuff, and it's surprising nobody notices that he's actually gone completely off his rocker. And yeah, but the little bit between Violanta and her mother is lovely. This thing of, oh, so this is what you went through when I was born. Gosh, and I've been disobedient to you. How could I be, after that, how could I be so awful? That was really unusual.
Yeah, it's. I'd say that's where I was sort of going with the tonal shift, because it goes from something that is really quite silly to something. And yeah, I quite like the idea that the mad scene is going on and nobody notices. You know what families are like. It's just like, oh, he's just doing a thing. He'll be fine in a minute. Give him some cheese. Alexandra.
Yes, I quite like this. Is, I think, the third or fourth thing that we're talking about within just a couple of scenes where we're going, oh, this is uncharacteristic of early modern drama, and I like it. So I love that. And also, yeah, I was reading the mad scene slightly differently. Mad scene. I was seeing the fact that he's turned up in dark clothes, but he's the bridegroom, so that's unexpected. It's not right for the circumstance, and presumably he's not unhappy about the fact he has to not marry this woman. So, he's sort of going, my inequality ascends no higher, I dare not marry you. And now I'm going. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be laughing, but I've got this fit that's going on, and sometimes I cry, sometimes I laugh. It's okay, it's fine. This is entirely normal. And so that's why nobody's batting an eye at it. Where actually what's happening is he's covering up by pretending or by claiming that he's in the context of any modern drama mad, he's in fact covering up for the fact that, he's not at all feeling the feelings he's supposed to be feeling in this circumstance. Neither about wanting to marry her, nor about the fact that he can't.
Okay, let's crack on. We've actually been talking a bit too much. I may need to force the pace. We shall see. No, it's not a bad thing. It's just that's my timing issues. Act 3, Scene 4. Enter Ferdinand and Benvoglio privately after him.
Oh, blessed solitude, here my griefs may speak, and sorrow I will argue with thee now. Nothing will keep me company. The flowers die at my moan. The gliding silver streams hasten to flee my lamentations. The air rolls from 'em, and the golden sun is smothered pale as Phoebe with my sighs. Only the earth is kind that stays. Then earth, to thee I will complain. Why do the heavens impose upon me love? What can I ne'er enjoy? What I can ne'er enjoy. Before fruition was impossible, I did not thirst it. Gerrard, she is thine, sealed and delivered. But 'twas ill to stain her virgin state ere ye were married. Poor infant, what's to become of thee? Thou knowest not the woe thy parents brought thee to. Dear earth, bury this close in thy sterility. Be barren to the seed, let it not grow. For if it do, 'twill bud no violet nor gillyflower, but wild briar or rank rue, unsavory and hurtful.
Ferdinand, thy steel hath digged the earth, thy words my heart.
Oh, I have violated faith, betrayed my friend and innocency.
Desperate youth, violate not thy soul too. I have showers for thee, young man. Gerrard flames for thee. Was thy base pen made to dash out mine honour and prostitute my daughter? Bastard, whore, come, turn thy female tears into revenge, which I will quench my thirst with, ere I see daughter or wife or branded family by both die, and for amends, Ferdinando be my heir. I'll to my brother, first tell him all, then to the Duke for justice. This morning he's received. Mountains nor seas shall bar my flight to vengeance. The foul stain printed on me, thy blood shall rinse again.
Exit Benvoglio.
I have transgressed all goodness, witlessly raised mine own curses from posterity. I'll follow to redress in what I may. If not, your heir can die as well as they.
Exit Ferdinand. There's another dumb show as the stakes get a bit higher. Enter Duke Rinaldo with attendants at one door, states Rodolfo and Gerrard at another. They kneel to the Duke. He accepts their obedience and raises them up. They prefer Gerrard to the Duke, who entertains him. They seat the Duke in state. Enter Benvoglio and Ferdinand. Benvoglio kneels. For justice! Ferdinand seems to restrain him. Benvoglio gives the Duke a paper. The Duke reads, frowns on Gerrard, shows the paper to the states. They seem sorry, consult, cause the guard to apprehend him. They go off with him. Then Randolfo and Benvoglio seem to crave justice. Duke vows it and exit with his attendants. Randolfo, Benvoglio and Ferdinand confer. Enter to them Cornelia, once again hasn't said anything yet, with two servants. She seems to expostulate. Randolfo in scorn causeth her to be thrust out poorly. Exit Randolfo. Benvoglio beckons Ferdinand to him with much seeming passion, swears him, then stamps with his foot. Enter Dorothea with a cup. Weeping, she delivers it to Ferdinand, who with discontent exits, and exeunt Benvoglio and Dorothea. There's a lot to unpack in that lot. Initially, it was fairly straightforward. We had the setup scene with Ferdinand confessing to the audience, but oh no, The aside. He hasn't closed the screen doors on the aside. It can be heard.
Yeah. Bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's doing a voice memo. That's what he's doing. That's what it is. It's like, Diane, I'm in an early modern play and I'm feeling very sad.
Oops.
There, yeah. So the dumb show was quite straightforward for the first half, and then it got a bit confusing because it was with characters we haven't really met doing some things, and Cornelia expostulates. I'm assuming she's really good at dumb show stuff. Maybe they just don't trust Cornelia with lines. So she's obviously having a go at them for being arses, and they chuck her out. But then beckons Ferdinand to him, swears him, then stamps with his foot. Dorothea with a cup. I don't know what that stuff is meaning yet, but Lois.
Yeah, I'm beginning to get a theory about this, which is that this was a full-length play and that they cut it down, maybe because it wasn't a big success, to make it part of this 4 plays in one thing.
Maybe.
I mean, otherwise, it doesn't make really much sense. I mean, some of this, you really would have had to be told about before.
Yeah. Lynn.
But you can see where it's going, or if you know that guy is the Duke and Amelia is Gerrard's adoptive mother, blah blah. Because Randolfo says in the previous scene, "Oh, I wish I had a girl for my adoptive son, Gerrard, because he's a great guy. He'd make a great.
Yeah,
he's so great he could be like a head of state." So my prediction is that Gerrard is going to turn out to be the Duke's long lost son. Ferdinand is going to turn out to be Violanta's brother. So of course he loves her, but like that, and everything will be all happy in because coincidence is your friend in this genre.
We do need another young woman, don't we?
We do. For everyone to get paired off.
Well, we don't even know what genre it's doing yet, so they might all die.
They're getting.
Yeah. Okay, Act 3, Scene 5. Enter Violanta.
Not come, nor Dorothy returned. What adverse star ruled my nativity? The time tonight has been as dilatory as languishing consumptions, but until now I never durst say my Gerrard was unkind. Heaven grant all things go well, and nothing does if he be ill, which I much fear. My dreams have been portentous. I did think I saw my love arrayed for battle with a beast, a hideous monster, armed with teeth and claws, grinning and venomous, that sought to make both us a prey. His tail was lashed in blood, law, and his forehead, did I plainly see, held characters that spelled authority. This rent my slumbers, and my fearful soul ran searching up and down my dismayed breast to find a port to escape. Good faith, I am cold, but Gerrard's love is colder. Here I'll sit and think myself away.
Enter Ferdinand with a carp and a letter.
The peace of love attend thee, sweet Violanta. Read, for the sad news I bring I do not know. I am sworn to give you that and this.
Is this from Gerrard? Gentle Ferdinand, how glad am I to see you thus well restored. In troth, he never wronged you in his life, nor I, but always held fair thoughts for you. Knew not my father's meaning till of late, could never have known it soon enough. For, sir, Gerrard's and my affection began in infancy. My uncle brought him oft in long coats hither. You were such another, the little boy would kiss me, being a child, and say he loved me, give me all his toys, bracelets, rings, sweetmeats, all his rosy smiles. I then would stand and stare upon his eyes, play with his locks, and swear I loved him too, for sure methought he was a little love, he wooed so prettily in innocence, that when he warmed my fancy, for I felt a glimmering beam of love kindle my blood, both which time since hath made a flame and flood.
O gentle innocent, methinks it talks like a child still, whose white simplicity never arrived at sin. Forgive me, lady, I have destroyed Gerrard and thee, rebelled against heaven's ordinance, despaired 2 doves, made him sit mourning, slaughtered love and cleft the heart of all integrity. This breast was trusted with the secret of your vow by Gerrard, and revealed it to your father.
Huh?
Read and curse me.
Neither. I will never nor write nor read again.
My penance be it. Reads, your labyrinth is found, your lust proclaimed.
Lust. My mother sure felt none when I was got.
Aye, and the law implacably offended. Gerrard's imprisoned, and to die.
Oh, heaven!
And you to suffer with reproach and scoffs a public execution. I have sent you an antidote against shame, poison. By him you have most wronged. Give him your penitent tears.
Ah, it is not truth.
Drink, and farewell forever. And though thy whoredom blemish thy whole line, prevent the hangman's stroke and die like mine.
Oh, woe is me for Gerrard! I have brought confusion on the noblest gentleman that ever truly loved. But we shall meet where our condemners shall not, and enjoy a more refined affection than here. No law nor fathers hinders marriage there, twixt souls divinely affied, as sure ours were. There we will multiply, and generate joys like fruitful parents. Luckless Ferdinand, where's the good old gentlewoman, my husband's aunt?
Thrust from your uncle to all poverty.
Alas, the pity! Reach me, sir, the cup. I'll say my prayers and take my father's physic.
Oh, villain that I was, I had forgot to spill the rest, and I am able now to stir to hinder her.
What ail you, sir?
Your father is a monster, and I a villain. This tongue has killed you. Pardon, Violanta. Oh, pardon, Gerrard, and for sacrifice accept my life to expiate my fault. I have drunk up the poison.
Thou art not so uncharitable. A better fellow far, thou'st left me half. Sure, death is now a dry, and calls for more blood still to quench his thirst. I pledge thee, Ferdinand, to Gerrard's health, dear Gerrard, poor aunt and unfortunate friend. Ay me, that love should breed true lovers' end.
Stay, madam, stay. Help! Oh, for heaven's sake, help! Improvident man, that good I did intend for satisfaction, saving of her life. My equal cruel stars made me forget.
Enter Angelina with 2 servants.
What spectacle of death assaults me? Oh!
My dearest mother, I am dead. I leave father and friends and life to follow love. Good mother, love my child that did no ill. Fie, how men lie that say death is a pain. Or has he changed his nature? Like soft sleep he seizes me. Your blessing, last I crave, that I may rest by Gerrard in his grave.
Lay me there too. O noble mistress, I have caused all this, and therefore justly die. That key will open all.
Viperous father, for heaven's sake, bear him in. Run for physicians and medicines quickly. Heaven, thou shalt not have her yet. 'Tis too soon. Alas, I have no more, and taking her away, thou robb'st the poor.
And they exit with the two bodies of the people who are definitely dead. They're in no way going to turn out to be fine later on, because we haven't ever come across this sort of situation before. I really love the idea that he drinks as much of the poison as he can, and then sort of is semi-paralyzed by the drug, and is going, "Oh no, I've left some. You can have. Oh bugger."
Yeah.
All the things. Erin.
Look, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge Ferdinand has been on a hard pursuit for some reason to die since we met him earlier in the play. I do not want to deny him what is obviously his character's one want, which is just to get out of this. He's tired of life. He wants out. He's looking for a way, and he's trying really hard.
Yeah, that's the true tragedy of this play. Is the poor sod. Oh yeah, he's not a happy bunny. Okay, let's. I don't think there's a lot more to say there. I kind of enjoyed it. I think I'd really enjoy workshopping that scene. I think it'd be a lot of fun to be had. It's the question of actually how far you push it and how much you rein it in, and actually how tragic you can make it without drifting into the laugh side of it. Which obviously in this context is obviously much easier to do than to actually get an affecting scene out of it. Partly because it's just so cliched and we know exactly where it's going. Lois, before we move on.
Yeah, well, just Violanta's description of how cute this little boy was and how much they loved each other is absolutely yucky.
Yeah, very briefly, Am.
Yeah, it struck me that Violanta must be a little bit older than the two lads by a number of years, I would have thought, in the context.
I do not know. Okay, Act 3, Scene 6, Flourish! I can't find my kazoo. Enter Duke, States, Randolfo, Benvoglio, Gerrard, Executioner, and Guard.
The law, as greedy as your red desire, Benvoglio, hath cast this man. 'Tis pity so many excellent parts are swallowed up in one foul wave. Is Violanta sent for? Or justice must not lop a branch and let the body grow still.
Sir, she will be here, alive or dead, I'm sure.
How cheerfully my countenance comments death. That which makes men seem horrid, I will wear like an ornament. O Violanta, might my life only satisfy the law, how jocundly my soul would enter heaven. Why shouldst thou die? Thou witherest in thy bud, as I have seen a rose ere it was blown. I do beseech your grace, the statute may, in this case made, be read, not that I hope to extenuate my offense or penalty, to see whether it lay upon her, but to see whether it lay upon her. And since my death is more exemplary than just, the public reading will advise caution to others.
Read it.
Brother, does not your soul groan under this severity? A statute provided in case of unequal matches, marriages against parents' consent, stealing of heirs, rapes, prostitutions, and such like, that if any person meanly descended or ignorant of his parentage, which implies as much, with a foul intent, unlawfully solicit the daughter of any peer of the dukedom, he shall, for the same offence, forfeit his right hand. But if he further prostitute her to his lust, he shall first have his right hand cut off, and then suffer death by the common execution, after whom the lady so offending shall likewise the next day in the same manner die for the fact.
This statute has more cruelty than sense. I see no ray of mercy. Must the lady suffer death too? Suppose she were enforced. By some confederates borne away and ravished, is she not guilty?
Yes, if it be proved.
But this case is so. I ravished Violanta.
Whoever knew a rape produce a child?
Okay, shut up. Sorry.
Pish, these are idle. Will your grace command the executioner proceed?
Your office.
Farewell to thy enticing vanity. thou round gilt box that dost deceive man's eyes. The wise man knows, when open thou art broke, the treasure thou includest is dust and smoke. Even thus I cast thee by. My lords, the law is but the great man's mule. He rides on it, and tramples poorer men under his feet. Yet when they come to knock at yon bright gate, one's rags shall enter for the other's state. Peace to ye all. Here, sirrah, strike. This hand hath Violanta kissed 1,000 times. It smells sweet ever since. This is the hand plighted my faith to her. Do not think thou canst cut that in sunder with my hand. My lord, as free from speck as this arm is, my heart is of foul lust, and every vein glides here as full of truth. Why does thy hand shake so? 'Tis mine must be cut off, and that is firm, for it was ever constant.
Enter Cornelia, not in dumb show.
Hold! Your sentence unjustly is pronounced, my lord. This blow cuts your hand off, for his is none of yours, but Violanta's given in holy marriage before she was delivered, consummated with the free will of her mother by her confessor in Lord Benvoglio's house.
Alas, good aunt, that helps us nothing, else I had revealed it.
What woman's this?
A base confederate in this proceeding, kept of arms a long time by him, who now, exposed to misery, talks thus distractedly. Attach a guard.
Your cruelty, brother, will have end.
You'd best let them attach my tongue.
Good woman, peace. For were this truth, it doth not help thy nephew. The law's infringed by their disparity. That forfeits both their lives.
Sir, with your pardon, had your grace ever children?
Thou hast put a question whose sharp point toucheth my heart. I had 2 little sons, twins, who were both, with my good duchess, slain, as I did hear, at that time when my dukedom was surprised.
I have heard many say, my gracious lord, that I was wondrous like her.
Huh?
By all men's joy, it is Cornelia, my dearest wife.
To ratify me, her. Come down, Alfonso, one of those 2 twins, and take thy father's blessing. Thou hast broke no law, thy birth being above thy wives. Ascanio is the other, named Fernando, who by remote means to my lord Benvoglio I got preferred. And in poor habits clad, you fled, and innovation laid again. I wrought myself into Randolfo's service with my eldest boy, yet never durst reveal what they and I were, no, not to themselves, until the tyrant's death.
My joy has filled me like a full-winded sail. I cannot speak.
Fetch Violanta and my brother.
Unlike a spout, you rogue, a poison. That little whore I trusted will betray me. Stay, hangman, I have work for you. There's gold. Cut off my head, or hang me presently.
This is your rashness, brother. Soft music. Enter Angelina with the bodies of Ferdinand and Violanta on a bier. Dorothea carrying the cup and letter, which he gives to the Duke. He reads and seems sorrowful. Shows it to Cornelia and Gerrard. They lament over the bier. Randolfo and Benvoglio seem fearful and seem to report to Angelina and Dorothea what have passed before. This is your rashness, brother.
O joy, thou wert too great to last. This was a cruel turning to our hopes. Unnatural father, poor Ascanio.
Oh, mother, let me be Gerrard again and follow Violanta.
Oh, my son.
Your lives yet, bloody men shall answer this.
I must not see him longer grieve. My lord, be comforted. Let sadness generally forsake each eye and bosom. They both live. For poison, I infused mere opium, holding compulsive perjury, less sin than such a loathed murder would have been.
Oh, blessed
Oh,
maiden.
blessed maiden!
Oh, music! Gently creep into their ears and fright hence lazy sleep. Morpheus, command thy servants sleep in leaden chains, no longer keep this prince and lady. Rise, wake, rise, and round about convey your eyes. Rise, prince, go greet thy father and thy mother. Rise thou to embrace thy husband and thy brother.
Cornelia, son, daughter.
Father? Mother? Brother?
Wife?
It's all in heaven.
Very near it.
How can this be?
Hear it.
If I had served you right, I should have seen your old paid off ere I had revealed.
Oh, wench. Oh, honest wench. If my wife die, I'll marry thee. There's my reward.
'Tis true.
'Tis very strange.
Why kneel you, honest master?
My good lord.
Dear mother.
Rise, rise, all our friends. I owe ye for all their boards. And wench, take thou the man whose life thou savedst, that less cannot pay the merit. How shall I part my kiss? I cannot. Let one generally therefore join our cheeks, a pen of iron and a leaf of brass, to keep this story to eternity, and a Promethean wit. O sacred love, nor chance nor death can thy firm truth remove.
And they exit. We go back to the court for the end of Act 3, and we have the question of the what did the audience think?
Yes.
Act 3, Scene 7, the court.
Now, Isabella.
There's a flourish.
This can true love do. By joy they all so happily are pleased. The ladies and the brothers must triumph.
They do, for Cupid scorns but to have his triumph too.
Flourish. The triumph this time is enter diverse musicians, then certain singers bearing baronets inscribed truth, loyalty, patience, concord. Next, Gerrard and Ferdinand with garlands of roses, then Violanta. Last, a chariot drawn by 2 Cupids. Thank goodness for that. And Cupid sitting in it. Flourish. And there we'll pause. The chariot was driven far more problematically last time. So it's a tragi-comedy, right? We have now firmly established the genre here. We move in the general direction of tragedy, and then we leap headfirst into the bosom of comedy for Cornelia, son, daughter, father, mother, brother, wife. Oh, it's good, good, wholesome fun. Apart from the rape line earlier. Lois.
Yeah, I think doesn't Dorothea get married off to one of those guys too? I mean, she's not in the chariot being drawn, probably because she's not worthy of it. But that I can't make out who else was being married. I mean, this bit about wench. Wench, take thou the man whose life thou savest. That, I mean, I saved his life by not giving him poison. Is that what? Who else is involved?
Yeah.
So there's a thing. Somebody says to Dorothea, "If my wife dies, I'll marry you."
Yes.
So yes, I don't think she's the wench who's taking a man whose life she saved.
Who else?
But I think it might be to Violanta.
Well, yeah, I suppose he could mean that, but no, I don't know. His life thou savest? It seems to me, I mean, Dorothea really has saved their lives by giving them opium. Yeah.
Or possibly it might be to Cornelia, who is his wife. So he's offering himself back to her. That might be it.
By finally revealing all this that she's been holding back for all this time. Yeah, she has saved their lives. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I just love the way Cornelia, who said nothing and just literally is a Deus Ex Machina at the end, who just turns up and goes, ta-da! And then we got a sort of pseudo-additional Deus Ex Machina from Dorothea at the end as well. But it's just like, it's all the things. Alexandra.
Well, she is in fact prefigured, right? She's been in on the whole plot. She just hasn't been speaking. So yes, she's a Deus Ex Machina, but she's also Joanna's mother in Sweeney Todd, you know, which I think is just it's delightful. The fact that rather than have this moment, which we've seen in other plays, where someone we've heard of but never seen, and we have no context for, turns up and goes, "I have the resolution." Instead, we've had her be around, and we've hopefully the audience, as much as we the readers, has been going, "Wait a minute, hang on, who's that one?" And then they find out, and it's a positive payoff.
Yes, and yes, Erin.
I want to give them credit for Ferdinand's foreshadowing that, like, as he's drinking the poison, he's like, "Oh, I'm drinking this wrong because I'm not dying." They at least laid in that much. They gave us that little hint, and they gave him a nice little character moment. It wasn't completely out of the blue.
Oh yeah, but I think the thing about the show is it's signposting everything so hard. It's like there was no doubt in my mind that they were actually dead at that point, and just going, no, they're clearly going to be fine. And yeah, we're going to get all this stuff. Lynn.
I feel a little bad for Ferdinand, though. He kind of gets the fuzzy end of the lollipop there, because I mean, turns out to be a duke's son, but I think Cornelia says something that implies that the son that's been going under the name of Gerrard all this time is the firstborn of the twins. So he gets the girl, he gets the dukedom.
Yeah, he gets to be miserable, and that's all he really wants. I mean, that seems to be what he actually genuinely wants, to just spend his life being sad and aggrieved. So I think that seems fitting.
He also, his complaint is never about you're getting the girl. Like in the scene where it's revealed that the woman he's betrothed to is already pregnant, he's just like, "Oh, well, you've ruined my fortune." He kind of has been set up as only caring about the money the whole way through.
Yeah, but I think we've got what we've got here is, of course, it's not about the impropriety that is the issue. It's the class betrayal of it all. How dare you attempt to undermine our rigid hierarchical structure of our society? It's just, no, you can't do that. That equals death. And it's like, oh no, it's all right, it's fine. We're all related.
It's not about sex, it's about class. That's very interesting.
Lois.
So it also reminds me a bit of the laws of Candy, where we had this absurd law, which then gets brought in at the end, and then they have to get round it.
Yes, but in the laws of Candy, they get to the end and they just go, "Shall we all just quietly forget the laws don't count and it's fine?" Yes, and whereas here they do still go through the pro forma of what's going on. Alexandra,
which I think is a problem. Because the play isn't concluding that the law is wrong or that the law needs to be overturned or anything like that. It's just, luckily, these particular individuals are actually higher in station, so everything is fine. Everybody else can, for instance, because I was reading the statute, and, unequal matches, marriages against parents, stealing of heirs, rapes, prostitutions, those things have differing levels of consent. And the fact that both of the people involved must die is even raised within the play. The idea that's not very fair, is it? And that there's nothing resolved with that, which is sort of it's I think for me as a listener viewer, that's quite a sour taste. But also,
but within the context of the play within a play, it's being performed before the rulers of a land, so it sort of makes sense as a presentation for them.
Well, and this is the thing that I'm finding interesting is when we then go back to Emanuel and Isabella, she says, yeah, true love can do that, and I'm so happy that they're happy. I'm sorry, true love can resolve pregnancy outside of marriage into, because what you're saying here is quite un-Catholic. And it's potentially even considering the moors of the place it was performed rather than the place it's representing. I think it might still be kind of controversial if you really unpick it. So I thought that was really interesting, that the triumph of love is actually a success of a circumstance that we would otherwise in any other play be frowning upon.
Well, I think actually the play is putting forward a very extreme example. I mean, it is obviously frowned upon to have sex outside of wedlock, but if they are effectively betrothed and affianced and together, and they do get married, in that sense. So in the sense that yes, it's frowned upon, but it's the law here is saying and that equals death, and that's the thing that the exception that's going on there. Did you say something? I couldn't hear.
I just said, and nobody challenges that law.
No.
Yeah.
But I'd say I don't think they say within the logic of the play within the play that is actually what it's what necessarily is an issue in that sense, because say if you're playing it before a king and a queen, they don't want to upset that apple cart. They just want, they got together in the end and everything was fine, and they all happen to be royal like us. Lois.
Yeah, I think I read somewhere that about 1/3 of brides in that period, I mean, in the Elizabethan Jacobean period, were pregnant on their wedding day. I mean, someone worked that out, obviously, by looking at dates of various events.
Yes. Yeah.
Isn't that weird that bit where, I don't know, I thought the states were just a crowd of people, the various estates, but then the one line I got in that was that bit about rape never produces a child. Since when? I mean, was that actually a popular belief at the time?
Well, I'd love to say it's died.
Believe today.
Yeah, I wish.
My understanding is that the theories of procreation believed that sexual pleasure was necessary to conceive a child, and sexual pleasure can't have happened. If sexual pleasure happened, it wasn't rape. That's the logic. It's horrible logic. It's vile, but that was the logic.
I feel like we have other early modern plays where a woman was violated and got pregnant, but I can't.
Of course, that is entirely possible.
And Lois is right. I have heard that too. The records that statistic was taken from are actually mostly post restoration, because the record keeping was better. Well, like in the interregnum, because the Puritans were about keeping records. But yeah, if you subtract the birth dates from the marriage dates, you get a lot, like a third, or 30% of ordinary people got engaged and then started to live together as man and wife. And one bride in 3 or one bride in 5 went to the altar pregnant.
Right.
So,
well, after that great fecundity, let us move on into our next play, which we will start this session but not complete. So, flourish. Enter prologue.
Love and the strength of fair affection, most royal sir, what long seemed lost, have won their perfect ends, and crowned those constant hearts with lasting triumph, whose most virtuous parts, worthy desires and love, shall never end. Now turn we to the scene, and, great sir, lend a sad and serious eye to this of death, this black and dismal triumph, where man's breath, desert, and guilty blood ascend the stage, and view the tyrant ruined in his rage.
Exit prologue, Act 4, Scene 1, The Triumph of Death. So that should cheer everyone up. Flourish.
Oh, my good lord.
Enter.
I said.
Enter Lavall, Gabriella, and Maria.
As I was saying, no, my good lord, I am not now to find your long neglect of me. All those affections you came first clad in, to my love, like summer, lusty and full of life, all those desires that, like the painted spring, bloomed round about ye, giving the happy promise of an harvest, how have I seen drop off and fall forgotten? With the least lustre of another's beauty, how oft, forgetful lord, have I been blasted? Was I so easily won? Or did this body yield to your false embraces with less labour than if you had carried some strong town?
Good Gabriella.
Could all your subtleties and sighs betray me? The vows ye shook me with, the tears ye drowned me, till I came fairly off with honoured marriage. Oh, fie, my lord.
Prithee, good Gabriella.
Would I had never known ye, nor your honours, they are stuck full of griefs. Oh, happy women that plant your love in equal, honest bosoms, whose sweet desires, like roses set together, make one another happy in their blushes, growing and dying, without sense of greatness, to which I am a slave. And that blessed sacrament that daily makes millions of happy mothers linked me to this man's lust alone. There left me. I dare not say I am his wife, 'tis dangerous. His love, I cannot say, alas, how many.
You grow too warm. Pray, be content. You best know the time's necessity, and how our marriage, being so much unequal to mine honour while the Duke lives, I standing high in favour, and whilst I keep that safe next to the dukedom, must not be known without my utter ruin. Have patience for a while, and do but dream, wench. The glory of a duchess! How she tires me! How dull and leaden is my appetite to that stale beauty now! Oh, I could curse and crucify myself for childish doting upon a face that feeds not with fresh figures every fresh hour. She is now a surfeit to me.
Enter, I'm going to say Gentille now. I've decided that's how I'm going to say it, yeah.
Who's that? Gentille? I charge ye, no acquaintance, you nor your maid, with him, nor no discourse till times are riper.
Ay, my noble lord, can you be now a stranger to the court, when your most virtuous bride, the beautiful Helena, stands ready like a star to gild your happiness, when Hymen's lusty fires are now alighting, and all the flower of Anjou?
Some few trifles for matter of adornment have a little made me slow, Gentile, which now in readiness I am for court immediately.
Take heed, sir, this is no time for trifling, nor she no lady, to be now entertained with toys. To accost ye,
You're an old cock, Gentile.
by your lordship's favour.
Prithee, away, 'twill lose time.
Oh, my lord, pardon me that, by all means.
We have business, a footman of more moment.
Then my manners? I know none, nor seek I none.
Take tomorrow.
Even now, by your lordship's leave. Excellent beauty, my service here I ever dedicate in honour of my best friend, your dead father, to you his living virtue, and wish heartily that firm affection that made us too happy may take as deep undying root and flourish betwixt my daughter Casta and your goodness, who shall still be still your servant.
Much thank you.
Oh, this dreaming puppy, will ye go, sir?
A little more, good lord.
Not now, but come, I must use ye.
Goodness dwells still with you.
Exeunt Gentile and Lavall.
The sight of this old gentleman, Maria, pulls to mine eyes again the living picture of Prologue, his virtuous son, my first love, that died at Orleans.
You have felt both fortunes in extremes, poor lady. For young Prologue, being every way unable to maintain you, durst not make known his love to friend or father. My lord Lavall, being powerful, and you poor, will not acknowledge you.
Oh, let's in, wench. There let my lute speak my laments. They have tired me.
And they exit. So we're sort of, again, sketching in things quite quickly, sort of throwing us in with this, the complicated ducal politics, attachments, unattachments. Yeah, thoughts on this opening gambit, and where we are. I'm not quite sure where we landed fully yet, so I'm curious. Lynn, then Aaron.
I just wanted to mention there's got to be some unmarked asides in Lavall's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, oh, I'm sick of her now. So
Yeah. Expletive, this dreaming puppy. Sod
Yeah.
off.
so
You
his
tedious old man.
so yes, his wise old servant is like, oh God, this guy is such a weenie.
Aaron.
So we're now, he's secretly married to this woman because he's also now going to court to meet someone he is supposed to marry because he's married so far beneath his station. That's what I got so far.
Yeah, it had to be kept a secret, so that was the logic. That because station. So once again, stations with class station thing again going on here.
Well, and
all of these plays are sort of speaking to each other. They don't seem random in their selection.
Yeah, we're doing kind of a now what if, because we just married two people where the guy was allowed to marry her because he was so high. So we're now kind of going down a different road with a similar situation and a different sets of variables, but we are kind of following a theme.
Lois, then Alexandra.
Yeah, it's a funny theme for putting out in front of some people who just got married. Here are some examples of how not to get married. Yeah.
Alexandra.
Just because this is called the Triumph of Death and starts with man leaves his wife to go marry someone higher in station, not leaves as in breaks up with, but just you just be patient over there where I'll go while I go elevate my station by marrying some other woman. I'm getting some real sense of Medea, and it's an interesting direction to start in.
Yeah, I suspect anything called the Triumph of Death suggests that really the number of people surviving this play might be quite small, or at least we shall see. Okay, let us read the second scene we're doing this session before we close off. Act 4, Scene 2. Enter two courtiers.
I grant the Duke is wondrous provident in his now planting for succession. I know his care is honourable in the choice too, Marine's fair virtuous daughter. But what's all this? To what end, excellent, arrives this travel, when he that bears the main roof is so rotten?
You've hit it now, indeed. For if fame lie not, he is intemperate.
You express him poorly too, gentle sir. The most debauched and barbarous believe it. The most void of all humanity, however his cunning, cloak it to his uncle, and those his pride depends upon.
I've heard, too, given excessively to drink.
Most certain, and in that drink most dangerous. I speak these things to one I know loves truth, and dares not wrong her.
You may speak on.
Uncertain as the sea, sir, proud and deceitful as his sins, great master, his appetite to women, for there he carries his mainsail spread, so boundless and abominably, that but to brave her name by that tongue spoken, poisons the virtue of the purest virgin.
I'm sorry for young Gabriella, then, a maid reputed ever of fair carriage, for he has been noted visiting.
She is gone then, or any else that promises or power, gifts, or his guileful vows can work on. But these are poor parcels.
'Tis great pity.
Nor want these sins a chief saint to befriend him. The devil follows him, and for truth, sir, appears invisible figure often to him, at which time he's possessed with sudden trances and coldly dead sweats and gripping of the conscience, tormented strangely, as they say.
Heaven turn him. This marriage day mayst thou well curse, fair Helen. But let's go view the ceremony.
I'll walk with you.
Exit. Okay, there's a few interesting things about this scene, because on the surface it's sort of mostly telling us stuff we already know, but it's sort of it's relaying some of those tracks, but giving us a few extra things as well. One, of course, is that everybody knows what he's been up to. And that's not unimportant. It's not like, I have a secret wife. No, I have told no one, and it is a well-kept... No, everybody knows. Literally everybody knows. This is not a terrible, terrible bit of work. But then there's this little bit towards the end. The devil follows him. and appears invisible figure often to him, and he's in sudden trances. What's going on there? Is that literal or figurative? Is that he goes into another weird, strange mental state, or
or is this a future tyrant with another apoplexy?
Yeah, I mean, it's like we just seem to have tyrants who all have some sort of malaise that comes upon them. It's the stress. It's the stress, I tell you. Little stress balls. That's what they need. So yeah, it's interesting. It's I quite like, actually, also just that it just reinforces stuff that we've just seen in the last scene, which wasn't actually quite so clearly laid out in my mind what was going on. It was actually quite helpful to just, because we sort of asked that question, she's with him and doing something else, and actually this scene has just reinforced, okay, he's seeing her, he's marrying her, and he's a bit of a wastrel, frankly, and that's not good. Lynn.
Well, yeah, I mean, it doesn't tell us anything we didn't already know, sort of, but I think it matters that Gabriella was not the first woman he seduced. He's a serial philanderer. He's a serial womanizer. And like one of them says, "Oh yeah, heaven help any woman who believes him." So he's done this before, and like, oh, poor Helena, she's marrying a dog. He's probably a walking petri dish. And then there's this little passing reference at the very beginning about the Marine's fair virtuous daughter is provident in now planting fruit. Oh, so I guess that's about the same marriage. Helena is Marine's daughter, so he's going to get his wastrel son a good virtuous wife, so hopefully they'll have good children, because it's the best he can do, because his son's a dog.
Yeah. Hopefully he'll live long enough for his grandchildren to get onto the throne, the dukedom instead. Yeah,
nobody likes a disputed succession.
No, they do not. Alan.
Yeah, and it's not the first time we've seen a rather nasty edge to the court gossip about potential rivals.
Lois.
Yeah, I mean, again, that the marriage day may thou curse. It seems very odd to have that in front of a newly married couple. What was the date of this? It's about 1613.
Somewhere, that's the earliest dating. Yes, 13 to 19 is the stretch. 19.
Yeah, I mean, there had, of course, been a royal marriage. I mean, Princess Elizabeth marrying the Elector Palatine. There were plays put on around that time, but this would seem rather a strange play for any marriage, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of because it seems to be it's doing that thing of you get in court dramas where it's like you are given license to actually sort of slightly step out of line and say, well, my lord, this is what you should be doing, or you should not be doing this.
We're so glad you're not like this.
Yeah. So there is a sort of license to it. It's in the same way as today, modern corporations funding vast amounts of entertainment media about how terrible corporations are, because it actually doesn't harm their power structure at all. So in that sense, there's a license to it. But this is on a public playhouse, and it's, I'd say, they've chosen this very odd historical wedding of the significance I still have yet don't quite understand.
Historically or politically an important match. Their child, they did have one son who was potentially a candidate to be the head of state for all of Iberia, and lots of people aspired to a united Iberian Peninsula, but it was always like the Portuguese wanted it to be Portuguese rulers and the Castilians wanted it to be Castilian rulers, and so forth. Potentially it could have been important because their issue would have been candidates for unifying the peninsula, but their son died before he was 2 years old. So it was really not. This was as it turned out, and by 1613 everybody knew this, an inconsequential historical moment.
Lois.
Yeah, I mean, it is odd that the Spanish tragedy does also end with a marriage between a Spaniard and a Portuguese, which is really disastrous. And then there is the fact that James I's foreign policy involved marriages between sort of potential enemies or enemy countries, even hostile religions, with a view to, binding them together, creating some sort of harmony. But I don't really know if that's what's behind this.
Yeah, I'd say it just feels like, is this a wedding that would had any traction in the popular consciousness of the early modern period? And I suspect
I don't see why
no.
it would,
It feels like trivia rather than pointed thing. Anyway, we've exercised this particular dog enough. Let us go into final thoughts. We've just entered, of course, a different playwright, a bit of Fletcher there. It felt slightly different, but not excessively different. I don't know if I was watching this unknowing, I would immediately go, hang on a minute. So that's fine. But then it's a totally different play. So, it's doing a different style anyway, so it doesn't matter. Discontinuity is its continuity. But we have been finding themes throughout. That, the plays are linked thematically and with certain ideas bouncing off each other. And it's sort of working. I mean, none of these plays are very subtle, but they don't have time to be very subtle, and I don't think a tragicomedy by its nature is ever very subtle. I think what happens when you condense a tragicomedy down from 2.5 hours down to 30 minutes is the whole thing becomes just so absurd, because all you've got is structure, and you can see the structure, you can see all the bits. And that's the most condensed we've had, actually, of the first two we've done. The first one didn't need dumb shows in that sort of scale, whereas this one, half the plot was dumb show, where normally you'd have a scene. So there's or several scenes, in fact. Final thoughts in the room. Alexandra, you were bobbing along for a fair amount of yesterday, even though you weren't technically in the room. Any final thoughts?
I was supposedly listening in, but due to circumstances, I wasn't able to pay a lot of attention. So I think most of my judgment is based on today, if not all of it. And I was putting in the chat, I like Field. I just can't remember why. But no, I've enjoyed this, and I think it's because I don't mind the fact that you can see the structure when the way that it's the bits that are fleshed out around it. I thought were quite cleverly done, and you can see the potential in the play that we've just read as a complete play. You could see that if the dumb shows and the other bits that we were saying, subplots and things, could be expanded and the whole thing turned into a full play. It doesn't end terribly. That's not, I mean, it ends weirdly, but not terribly. So that's not a curse of the third session situation. And so yes, I'm quite pleased with what I've been here for, which isn't always the case.
Yeah, I mean, the problem I think with this play in terms of presenting it is not that it's bad, it's just weird.
But we've had worse, and the amount of things that are quite unpalatable to us as a modern audience, such as that unresolution of the law edict at the end, are far fewer than the things that are palatable to us as a modern audience, because they are closer to our sensibilities than perhaps they would have been to those other periods. So yeah, I'm all for that one.
Lois, you weren't here last time. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I think that play could work quite nicely on its own, as part of a program of whatever theme you want to put it into. And I think doing the dumb shows really fast would be extremely funny, just emphasizing the way that everything, who's doing what, where did that poison come from, who's made it, what is this letter? I mean, it's just so weird. I think. I mean, you don't have to care about the characters or anything. It almost seems like a parody of every convention, really. I mean, the overheard soliloquy, for instance, which is just so idiotic. I'm going to keep this a secret. I will just tell the earth, and I will reveal the entire plot. And oh, good heavens, there's somebody standing behind me.
Oh no!
I mean, we have had overheard asides before, but it's always fun when we have them. I always like the asides where someone's doing an aside and someone just goes, "Have you finished doing your aside yet?" Thank you.
Yes.
That's always my favourite kind of interruption. Alan, any final thoughts?
Not really. I missed a chunk of this due to technical problems, so I'm not sure with these short plays. I always have problems with short drama anyway because you just don't get as. I find it difficult to get into the mood of how the thing is working.
It's very difficult to, as Lois was saying, is this question of whether you care or not, and where it doesn't sort of matter if you care. But it does help with a drama if you do care a bit about the people, because they're on for so short amount of time. Oh, I'm going to die. Get on with it then. Because I don't know who you are, and I met you 5 minutes ago. So yeah, there is always that problem with short works of actually how do you really get the audience to engage with each individual chunk as they go. I'll go to Lynn. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I kind of want to bounce off that. I've enjoyed today, and so we're supposed to be thinking about like how would you do this? I think this little set might make a really fun school play, university play, whatever the European equivalent of high school is. So 14 to 22-year-olds in an academic setting, because you can rehearse each play separately. You might even have separate directors, so you have like fledgling directors directing each little like one act, and if you do it in a school setting, that kind of addresses your "why should I care" problem. It's because your kid is up there, that's why. Right? So it's like we care because it's kids and because they're cutting their teeth and they're learning their craft and they're having fun. So you rely more on the sort of the context for that engagement rather than the material that you're presenting. One thing I might do, we'll see what the end of this text looks like, but I might reverse the order of the triumph of death and the triumph of love, or whatever. Have the happy play come after the sad play, so your audience leaves on an up note.
We still have a play after the triumph of death. So it's a question of actually, you're right. What is the shape? Where do you put the comedy play? This is something you get in portmanteau films today. Of which tone do you go for as part of your shape and journey? You found that in the going back to the Dead of Night and lots of sort of various horror portmanteau films, which is mostly the genre I know of in the modern day. I'm sure there are others, but yeah, you often have a jokey one somewhere. Where do you put the jokey one? And I think I love. Sorry, just before I go to Lois, I really love the idea of this would make it actually a very good scratch performance setup. Actually, to be able to say to several different companies, you come in and do your own thing as a way of bringing in and introducing new talent to this kind of drama. That's a really nice idea. Actually, I really like that. I'm making a note. Lois.
Yeah, just a short point, but about order. I think our tendency is always to put the jokey thing at the end, but apparently with two-part plays, very often, like with the Antonio plays, of Marston, you'll actually get the happy one first and then the tragedy second. Yes. I don't know why they seem to have liked it that way.
Well, I mean, structurally, Tamburlaine is a comedy. Part one, and then part two. And Spanish tragedy, in theory, had a first part, which was a Spanish comedy. Though I don't quite see how it's comedic, because a lot of people died by the end. But that's how it's advertised, even in the earliest instalment of it. Aaron, any final thoughts?
I'm kind of still just delighted by the kind of wit, and I find it really modern. I find this really accessible and really easy to watch. I keep relating it to comedies of today. It is difficult. Like we had a little discussion in the chat about the rape couldn't produce a child. It is so hard to figure out if the play believes that or if the play is throwing that in as another absurd laugh line. Done today, it would be thrown in to show this person's crazy. But I like it. I don't have much else to say on that topic.
And Sarah, who was briefly in at the beginning, our brief Benvoglio, any final thoughts?
Yes, I can't comment on yesterday or the overall shape of it, because I was lurking yesterday, but I wasn't really paying attention. But I just really enjoyed today, and I thought what Alexandra was saying was really valid about the the sort of this is these are the rights, and this is the when he's reading the the what do you call it, the rules,
Statute.
basically the laws, the statute. Thank you. But I was thinking, well, okay, so what would you do with that? And I think because this, I mean, you know me, I do love the bonkers plays, and this is bonkers. It's just so funny, and you'd have to play it so over the top. That whole bit where everybody's recognizing each other. If the audience is not falling off their seat with laughter when you do that, then you're not doing it properly. But given that, if you're going to really heighten it to that level of comedy, which I think you absolutely should, I can just imagine a situation where Cornelia, who doesn't speak until the very end, she's in those dumb shows, she's just there all the time in those early dumb shows, just like, what the actual, like, and just like looking at the audience, like rolling her eyes and like, oh my God, these people. So they have no idea who she is, but they know she's kind of like, she's someone, and she's just like, oh, I can't believe these stupid people. And then at the end, like at the very end of the play, she just kind of, grabs the scroll with the statute on it and looks at her husband and just like rips it in half and throws it on the ground. that would just solve that problem. I don't know how you'd solve the rape line. And who was it who said it? Because I wasn't.
It's just the state. One of the statesmen says it.
Right. So if it's one of the,
I think you could just.
You could cut it. Or the other thing that occurred to me was, if you're doing this for obviously for a modern audience in a very heightened way, you could have that statesman. You could play him like a modern day, with apologies to the Americans in the room. You could play him like a modern day Republican US senator. You could actually sort of have him as that figure, because there is a very famous quote from one of those gentlemen who said that, or a paraphrase of that, and so you could actually lampoon that character and sort of make him into a satirical figure and have him saying that, and then he just have everyone looking at him or shouting him down or just ignoring him, and Cornelia rolling her eyes at him. Again, I don't know, but I think there would be ways around it, and I just thought it was so fun, and I think it would work so well for a modern audience. Either as part, I don't know in terms of this whole play, but as just a little piece that you could take out and, put in somewhere else as like a palate cleanse. I just think it's hilarious.
I think that generically, though, we should be a bit careful about playing for laughs all the way through it. I mean, it is a case of it is a tragic comedy. We are supposed to care and on some level fear, or at least even if we don't really think they're dying, but those moments have to be played truthfully on that level, and because there are moments of comedy throughout it, but there are also moments where the stakes have to be put in place, otherwise all we're doing is lampooning it, so there is always that slight risk. Erin?
On that note, I think as you workshop and rehearse it, you'd find there's a little bit more room in it. We were all kind of taken aback by the sudden sweet scene between the mother and daughter after she gives birth, and I think it's because we read it, you can get through the dumb show and so forth very quickly, but as an audience member watching it, you've actually seen a lot happen. You're actually, you do need a moment of breath there if you sit through the whole thing. So it is, I don't know, you might find more of that rise and fall and where to take it seriously and so on when it's actually up on its feet.
I also quite like the idea that Cornelia is, I don't know when, during the dumb show scenes, that it's like there's just a wall of glass and she's just sort of tapping on it, just going, why can no one hear me? I'm talking. It's that I've got, it's like, oh, for goodness, is this mic on? There is potentially some fun to be had there, and see where that goes. Any additional thoughts anyone wants to throw in? We've been around everyone once. There's a lot to discuss with this one. It's doing some interesting work. We don't have an absolute, but we are starting to find ideas. I think last time we didn't really. We're still sort of finding our feet. So we've got one more session to find out what happens at the end of the triumph of death. I imagine death triumphs. in some fashion before we go into the final triumph and closing sequences. So all that remains, thank all the wonderful readers for all their wonderful reading. Thank you very much, everyone, and goodbye. Come, let's kill one another quickly.